Fast food is supposed to be quick, cheap, and satisfying, not the setting for tragedy. But sometimes the unthinkable happens in the most ordinary places. In today's video, we're counting down the 5 most disturbing fast food deaths ever. Shocking real-life stories that will make you look at your favorite burger joint in a whole new, chilling light. It started out like any other Saturday night in Harriman, Utah, a quiet, family-friendly suburb about half an hour outside Salt Lake City. At the local Domino's Pizza, things were business as usual. Orders were flying in, pizzas were baking, and the late-night crew was joking around, debating who got to pick the next song on the speaker. Just another normal evening, until it wasn't. Out of nowhere, that easy rhythm of dough, cheese, and laughter was shattered by the screech of tires and the crunch of metal. A 3-car collision on a nearby road sent one SUV careening off course, straight toward the Domino's building. Within seconds, the vehicle smashed through the wall of the restaurant, shaking the ground and sending debris flying across the kitchen. But the crash was just the beginning. The impact ruptured a hidden gas line beneath the building, setting off a chain reaction no one could have predicted. Flames began to pour from the wreckage, quickly spreading across the front of the restaurant. The SUV was trapped inside, already burning, and with it, 2 people were stuck, unable to escape. As chaos broke out, 2 complete strangers did something extraordinary. Without hesitation, they rushed toward the burning vehicle, fighting the heat and smoke to pull the driver and passenger to safety. According to the Unified Fire Authority, UFA, Utah's largest fire agency, those 2 bystanders risked their lives and managed to rescue the trapped victims just moments before the car was completely engulfed in flames. Bystanders called 911 as flames roared higher. The car was like halfway on fire, and the building was up in flames, just burning. One witness, Sam Horn, later told reporters, within minutes, fire crews from across the region, more than 60 firefighters from Harriman, South Jordan, West Valley City, Sandy, and Draper, arrived at the scene, working furiously to contain what had already become a massive blaze. But then, things took another terrifying turn. As the crews began battling the fire, the gas that had been leaking beneath the structure finally ignited, triggering a powerful explosion that ripped through the building. The blast obliterated the Domino's and sent chunks of debris raining down across the parking lot. 2 neighboring businesses, a Jimmy John's and a Supercuts, were also heavily damaged. A video later shared by the Unified Fire Authority showed the horrifying moment the building erupted into a fiery inferno, lighting up the night sky. It looked like something out of an action movie, only this time it was real. Somehow, miraculously, everyone survived. 3 people, including the driver and passenger from the SUV, were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No firefighters or police officers were hurt, despite several being dangerously close when the explosion went off. By the time the flames were finally extinguished, nothing remained of the Domino's but a heap of smoldering rubble. Harriman officials later said the long-term status of the entire shopping strip is still being evaluated due to the extensive damage. In the aftermath, the Unified Fire Authority praised the bravery of the 2 bystanders and the teamwork of every emergency crew who responded that night. We are grateful for the courage of those who acted without hesitation and the swift, unified response from all emergency personnel, the agency wrote. What had begun as just another night of pizza making in a small Utah town became one of Harriman's most shocking and destructive accidents, a moment that showed how quickly ordinary life can ignite into chaos and how courage can emerge from the flames. It was a quiet Sunday evening in downtown Atlanta, the kind of calm summer night when the streets begin to slow down and people stop by for a quick bite before heading home. Inside a small Subway restaurant near Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 2 young employees were wrapping up the dinner rush, chatting with regulars, and making sandwiches like they had 100 times before. It was just another shift until the front door slammed open. A man walked in, looking frustrated. He ordered a sandwich, nothing unusual, but what started as a routine transaction would soon spiral into something unthinkable. When the order was handed to him, he complained there was too much mayonnaise. A small, fixable issue, the kind of thing most people would shrug off or ask to be redone. But instead of walking away or asking for a new sandwich, his anger started to boil over. Voices rose, the argument got heated, and in a horrifying instant that frustration exploded into violence. Before anyone could react, the man pulled out a gun and opened fire. Panic erupted inside the restaurant. One employee, 26-year-old Brittany Macon, was hit and collapsed behind the counter. Her co-worker, a 24-year-old woman, was also shot but managed to cling to life. Adding to the heartbreak, the second victim's 5-year-old son was in the restaurant at the time, watching everything unfold in front of him. Police arrived within minutes, responding to desperate 911 calls from witnesses. Officers found both women wounded, and despite their efforts, Brittany was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Her co-worker was rushed into critical care. The suspect, identified as 36-year-old Melvin Williams, didn't get far. He lived just across the street from the subway and was arrested later that night. Williams was charged with murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. He was denied bond the next morning. Deputy Chief Charles Hampton Jr. of the Atlanta Police Department called the shooting a very tragic situation that did not have to occur. During a press conference, he confirmed what shocked everyone. The entire deadly altercation began over a sandwich, specifically too much mayonnaise. "It just breaks my heart," said Subway co-owner Willie Glenn, "to know that someone had the audacity to point a weapon and shoot someone over something so small. It's beyond comprehension." The incident quickly made national headlines, not only for its senselessness but for what it said about the growing crisis of everyday violence in America. Atlanta police reported that this was just one of 74 homicides in the city that year, a nearly 20% increase from the same period the year before. Friends and co-workers remembered Brittany as kind, hardworking, and full of life, someone who always brought positivity to her workplace. The Subway franchise and the community around it were devastated. Flowers, cards, and handwritten notes began piling up outside the restaurant's doors as locals stopped by to pay their respects. A spokesperson for Subway released a statement expressing condolences. "Our deepest sympathies go out to the families and friends of those attacked in this senseless act of violence. Our main concern remains with our team members and guests affected by this tragedy." What began as a simple customer complaint became a horrifying reminder of how fragile life can be, how one small moment of anger can lead to irreversible loss. The Mayo incident, as it came to be called, wasn't just a story about a sandwich. It was a story about the devastating consequences of rage and the heartbreak left behind when a single senseless act destroys lives forever. It was just after 5:30 p.m. at a Buffalo Wild Wings in Burlington, Massachusetts, and the restaurant was buzzing as employees scrambled to prepare for the evening dinner rush. The kitchen was being mopped and cleaned, the floors shiny, the food prepped, and staff focused on getting everything ready. What should have been a routine pre-shift task, however, turned into a deadly accident. Earlier that day, a worker had mopped the kitchen floor using an acid-based cleaner called Scale Clean. Later, another employee, unaware of the previous cleaning, began mopping again using a chlorine and bleach-based cleaner known as Super 8. Both products clearly warn against mixing with other chemicals, but that warning would go tragically unheeded. When the two cleaners combined, they reacted violently, creating a bubbling green foam and releasing highly toxic fumes into the air. The reaction was instantaneous. Employees began coughing, their eyes stung, and their lungs burned. Panic spread as people scrambled toward the exits, slipping on the slick, chemical-soaked floor. Amid the chaos, the restaurant's 32-year-old manager, Ryan Baldera, acted without hesitation. Grabbing a squeegee, he ran onto the hazardous floor, trying to push the bubbling, toxic mixture toward an outdoor drain to protect his team and the customers. But the fumes were overwhelming. Within moments, Baldera collapsed, overcome by the toxic gases. Co-workers and bystanders tried desperately to get him outside, but the fumes made it almost impossible to safely remove him from the kitchen. He was rushed to Leahy Hospital and Medical Center in Burlington, but tragically he did not survive. 13 other people were hospitalized with breathing issues and chemical exposure, though they ultimately survived. Authorities, including the Burlington Fire Department and a state hazardous materials team, responded quickly. Fire officials neutralized the chemical mixture and ventilated the restaurant, making it safe to enter hours later. city officials closed the Buffalo Wild Wings location, pending formal clearance from the Burlington Board of Health before it can reopen. The accident has drawn attention to how even common household and commercial chemicals can become extremely dangerous if improperly handled. Experts note that bleach and acid-based cleaners are safe when used separately, but combined, they can release toxic gases capable of causing serious harm or death. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, has opened an investigation to determine whether workplace safety standards were violated, a process that could take up to 6 months. In the aftermath, the community mourned Ryan Baldera, remembered as a dedicated and courageous manager who risked his life to protect others. The tragedy served as a grim reminder of how ordinary tasks can quickly turn deadly when safety precautions are overlooked. The company that manufactures one of the products, Autochlor System, expressed condolences to Baldera's family and those affected, stating that safety remains their top priority and that they are cooperating fully with authorities to understand the incident. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Wild Wings franchise and local officials continue to review safety protocols to prevent a repeat of such a catastrophic accident. What began as a simple cleaning routine ended in disaster, leaving a community shaken and a workplace forever changed. It was a powerful and heartbreaking reminder that even everyday chemicals, when misused, can have fatal consequences. It was the early hours of a Sunday morning in Lima, Peru, in the bustling Pueblo Libre district. At a McDonald's restaurant, the night shift was winding down. Among the crew were 2 young employees, Alexandra Porras, 19, and her 18-year-old boyfriend, Gabriel Campos. Both had been saving up to attend university and build a better future. That morning, however, tragedy struck, cutting their dreams short in a way that would shock an entire city. According to police reports, Alexandra was cleaning a soda machine when she suddenly received a powerful electric shock. The current jolted her violently, leaving her helpless. Gabriel, seeing her in danger, rushed to help, but as soon as he touched her, the same electricity surged through him, and he too was fatally electrocuted. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but it was too late. Both young workers had lost their lives before medical help could save them. The deaths sparked outrage across Lima and drew attention to broader issues with labor conditions in Peru. The tragic incident led to protests outside the McDonald's where they worked, with mostly young demonstrators expressing frustration at exploitative working conditions, lax health and safety standards, and low pay, even in formal employment. According to Peru's Statistics Institute, nearly 70% of the country's workforce operates in unregulated conditions, making accidents like this far too common. Alexandra's mother, Joanna Inga, told local media that her daughter had often complained about unsafe working conditions, including being forced to clean equipment without proper gloves or boots and enduring 12-hour shifts. Other family members demanded accountability and thorough investigation into the workplace practices that may have contributed to the deaths. Authorities quickly responded. Peru's public prosecutor opened an investigation, and the country's workplace safety agency, SUNAFIL, announced a 30-day inquiry to determine whether the McDonald's branch was responsible. If found liable, the restaurant could face fines of up to 189,000 soles, around 43,000. McDonald's Peru, operated by Arcos Dorados, expressed condolences and stated it would cooperate fully with authorities. The company also temporarily closed all its restaurants in Peru for 2 days of mourning. Meanwhile, the Pueblo Libre municipality shuttered the restaurant for violating safety regulations. Critics, however, argued that the tragedy highlighted systemic failures. Christian Sanchez, a former employment minister, stressed that responsibility did not rest solely with the restaurant. The local municipality and state oversight agencies also shared accountability. Enrique Fernandez Maldonado, editor of the labor rights site Trabajo Digno PE, noted that multinational companies operating in Peru often lack sufficient safety standards, and inspectors are too few to enforce regulations effectively. SUNAFIL, for instance, has only 661 inspectors covering 21 of the country's 25 regions, tasked with monitoring a workforce of around 8 million. The incident also evoked memories of past workplace tragedies in Lima, including a 2017 fire at an arcade that killed 4 young employees, 2 of whom were trapped inside containers by their employer, and a 2016 cinema fire at a popular mall that also claimed 4 young lives. Public anger has repeatedly surfaced over unsafe work conditions, but the underlying issues remain pervasive. For Alexandra and Gabriel, what should have been a routine shift ended in unimaginable loss. Their deaths became a catalyst for conversation about labor rights, workplace safety, and accountability in Peru, shining a harsh light on the risks faced by millions of workers across the country. Families, activists, and the public continue to call for meaningful change, demanding that no other young lives be cut short while trying to earn a living. This tragedy serves as a painful reminder that workplace safety is not optional, and that even small lapses can have catastrophic consequences, leaving communities grappling with grief and questions about preventable loss. It was just after 9:30 p.m. on a Sunday evening at Tina's Burritos factory in Vernon, California, a small industrial city just a few miles from Los Angeles. The factory, known for producing nearly 1 million frozen burritos a day, was busy prepping for the next day's production run. Employees hustled to clean, sanitize, and ready the massive machinery, unaware that the night would end in tragedy. A 19-year-old sanitation worker was assigned to clean one of the plant's enormous meat kettles, part of his routine duties. As he began sanitizing the equipment, something went horribly wrong. The young man became trapped inside the kettle. Despite the immediate response of co-workers and emergency personnel, he could not be saved and tragically passed away at the scene. Vernon police and city officials confirmed there were no signs of foul play, calling it an industrial accident, though an investigation is ongoing with the involvement of Cal OSHA and the district attorney's office. The accident sent shockwaves through the small factory community. Tina's Burritos released a statement expressing profound grief, emphasizing that the employee was performing standard cleaning tasks when the incident occurred. They highlighted the immediate response of colleagues and emergency teams and offered heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and co-workers. City officials echoed these sentiments, calling the death heartbreaking and expressing support for those affected. Investigators are now working to determine exactly what happened and how such a tragedy could have been prevented. While industrial accidents are not uncommon in facilities handling heavy machinery and large-scale food production, the loss of such a young life underscores the critical importance of safety measures and proper protocols. The company affirmed its commitment to cooperating fully with authorities and maintaining the highest safety standards at the facility. For a factory like Tina's Burritos, producing massive quantities of food daily, the work can be demanding and potentially dangerous. Employees handle enormous machines, chemicals, and heavy loads as part of routine operations. While the goal is efficiency and speed, incidents like this show how quickly something ordinary can turn fatal when machinery, procedures, or circumstances fail. This tragedy also serves as a reminder of the human cost behind the convenience of modern food production. Millions of people rely on fast, packaged foods without ever seeing the complex and sometimes hazardous processes behind them. Workers, like the young sanitation employee, play an essential role in keeping production lines running, often performing repetitive, physically demanding, and high-risk tasks. As the community mourns, Tina's Burritos has temporarily closed parts of its facility to focus on supporting its employees and honoring the young worker's life. The incident is a sobering example of why workplace safety cannot be overlooked and how fragile life can be, even during routine duties. It's a heartbreaking story, but one that reminds us to value the people behind the products we often take for granted and the systems in place to keep them safe. The death at Tina's Burritos is a stark, tragic reminder that industrial workplaces, while vital to daily life, carry risks that demand vigilance, care, and respect for every worker's safety.